Hello everyone, and thank you to all those who visited my Frauditor Auditor 003 episode. I appreciate it was not in the usual style, and maybe it wasn't exactly the ruthless takedown that maybe some were hoping for. I just, at some level, despite, thinking that News Now Omaha, Floyd, is an idiot in a lot of ways, I just feel for him a little bit, seeing someone with obvious issues being ruthlessly manipulated by someone he trusted. Now, irrespective of who it was he trusted and so on, that really hurts. I've sort of been in that sort of place where Floyd is, and it's not a fun place, guys. Alright, so we'll set that aside and move on now to the topic of today, namely Eric Dubay's 200 Proofs That Earth Is Not a Spinning Ball. Today we will be debunking the first page of his so-called proofs. So today, debunking proofs 1 to 8. And of course, we start with number 1. The horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon over 20 miles high. Only NASA and other government space agencies show curvature in their fake CGI photos or videos. First of all, Eric, Earth is, wait for it, big. Flat Earthers, as you so often tell us, globe-tards, do your research. Grab yourself a basketball and zoom in real close. You'll see, oh my god, it's confirmed. Basketballs are flat. Starting off with the really easy ones, I see. Let's see if number 2 is any more difficult. The horizon always rises to the eye level of the observer as altitude is gained, so you never have to look down to see it. If Earth were in fact a globe, no matter how large, as you ascended, the horizon would stay fixed, and the observer and camera would have to tilt looking down further and further to see it. Okay, cool. Let's conduct an experiment. Next time you're in a high-rise building of some kind, take a photo of the amazing vista before you. Then we come home, open up the photo in the editing software of your choice, determine where the horizon is in your photo, and then draw some lines to extend the horizontal base of any high windows, building tops and so on, towards the horizon. Uh-oh. Problem for the flatties. The lines will converge above the horizon. The lines show your eye level. Lo and behold, your eye level is above the horizon. Why? Earth is round, you dunces. The natural physics of water is to find and maintain its level. If Earth were a giant sphere tilted, wobbling and hurtling through infinite space, then truly flat, consistently level surfaces would not exist here. But since Earth is in fact an extended flat plane, this fundamental physical property of fluids finding and remaining level is consistent with experience and common sense. There is a little difference, Eric, between water being level and water being flat. A level ocean in the real world means that the surface of the water is at the same distance from Earth's center of gravity. Combine this image with what we know from our debunking of the proof in number 1, we can see this idea of Eric's is complete. Rhymes with trap. Rivers run down to sea level, finding the easiest course, north, south, east, west, and all other intermediary directions over the Earth at the same time. If Earth were truly a spinning ball, then many of these rivers would be impossibly flowing uphill. For example, the Mississippi, in its 3,000 miles, would have to ascend 11 miles before reaching the Gulf of Mexico. Sea level is a sphere around the center of the Earth. By that definition, rivers don't flow upwards. This is a weird point to wrap your head around. I think this is a case of Eric finding a phrase in a book he likes because it fits his narrative. The question of the Mississippi apparently ascending 11 miles comes from a book over 100 years old by a fellow called David Wardlaw Scott, Terra Firma, the Earth, not a planet. The author doesn't say how he reaches this mythical figure of 11 miles, mind. The whole idea is complete bunk. The sea level at the mouth of this mighty river is 6,373,159 meters from the center of the Earth. Sea level at the source of the Mississippi is 6,366,524 meters. This equates to a difference of 6,635 meters, or just a tiny smidge over 4.12 miles. A far cry from 11 miles, eh? Get your numbers right, Eric DeBay. Then we'll talk. One portion of the Nile River flows for 1,000 miles with a fall of only 1 foot. Parts of the West African Congo, according to the supposed inclination and movement of the ball earth, would be sometimes running uphill and sometimes down. This would also be the case for the Parana, Paraguay, and other long rivers. Didn't we just cover this? Or is Eric trying to pad his 200 proofs? There is no significant stretch on Earth where any river flows upwards. Let's take the Nile, for instance. Here we go, here's a nice little graphic. Whoa! Look at all the uphill movement the Nile has to go through as it flows on down to Egypt. If Earth were a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as NASA and modern astronomy claim, spherical trigonometry dictates the surface of all standing water must curve downward an easily measurable 8 inches per mile multiplied by the square of the distance. This means, along a 6-mile channel of standing water, the Earth would dip 6 feet on either end from the central peak. Every time such experiments have been conducted, however, standing water has proven to be perfectly level. First of all, guys, I don't think you'll find very many, if any at all, so-called globetards claiming 8 inches per mile squared as a reasonable way to calculate the Earth curve. That 8 inches per mile squared figure is a parabola, which the Earth is not. Now on to Eric's other point about water proving to be perfectly flat. The Bedford level experiment, Eric? Really? Let's explore that one and demonstrate how even the most basic of research should have convinced you to not even consider this as a proof of flat Earth. The site? Old Bedford River, the year 1838. Samuel Rowbotham wades into the river and holds a telescope 8 inches above the water. He watches a boat with a flag on a mast 3 feet above the water as it slowly rows away. The boat reaches the goal, some 6 miles distant, to Welney Bridge, and remained fully within Samuel's vision all the time. Oh my lord! Flat Earth confirmed. No. What our friends have neglected to account for is atmospheric refraction. Because of our wonderful gradient atmosphere, thank you gravity, all light rays travelling horizontally, they bend downward. We see with light, so our sight is also bending. If we conducted the experiment like Rowbotham did, a mere 8 inches above the surface of the water, the curve of the light can easily match the curvature of Earth's surface. So in this scenario, these effects essentially cancel each other out, and with optical experiments like these, This will make the Earth appear flat. Which we know it's not, because we're not idiots. Surveyors, engineers, and architects are never required to factor the supposed curvature of the Earth into their projects. Canals, railways, bridges, and tunnels, for example, are always cut and laid horizontally, often over hundreds of miles without any allowance for curvature. Yeah, enough said about that one. The Suez Canal, connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, is 100 miles long without any locks, making the water an uninterrupted continuation of the two seas. When constructed, the Earth's supposed curvature was not taken into account. It was dug along a horizontal datum line 26 feet below sea level, passing through several lakes from one sea to the other, with the datum line and water surface running perfectly parallel over the 100 miles. What? Hey, Eric. Congratulations on proving a spherical planet. This is exactly what we would expect. For the length of the Suez Canal, the balance of gravitational and centrifugal forces are the same. As we have learnt multiple times already in this video, this means level. Take an apple, for instance, or any sphere-like fruit. Can you cut a trench in that thing so that the trench is 1 centimeter deep? You can? Does that mean the apple is as flat as this basketball? Alright, there we have it, everyone. That is the first 8 supposed proofs of a flat Earth, completely and utterly debunked. So we will definitely return to this at some point in the near future, with the second page of his so-called proofs. I'm enjoying this. Alright, guys. Take care of yourselves, look after each other, and as far as humanly possible, keep smiling.